Hello guys, and welcome. So, I've been thinking lately, and I've actually thought this before, but walls need fixed. They're just too complicated. Why, what is this? Why is it doing that? Why are they so confusing? And why can I do this? Why is that a thing? So, there's many problems with walls, I think. There's just the cheeses with them. You know, they're so cheap and so easy to build. I've seen whole maps covered with them. You get spies, someone just spams it completely across the map. I had this happen in a free-for-all. My word. I was in a game, and I got spies. It was a free-for-all. And I was wrecking, and this dude built walls everywhere on the map, and it just crashed my game. So there's just so many things wrong with them. So I think I have a simpler solution, a few solutions actually. So instead of walls working in this grid system where there's pillar, wall, pillar, it should work in a system of just, instead of these being separate entities, just make this one entity. So when they build it, it builds the whole thing. And that would just overall make things simpler, and you wouldn't end up with these weird, ugly-looking pillarless walls. That's the first problem with. And then it just weird patterns like this would be more simple. It would have boop, and then it would have a short wall here. So it'd be like that. And there's just so many simple fixes. So the problem with this is that walls would be cheaper for everyone and build faster. Well, walls are already super cheap, just make them more expensive, Instead of it costing 10 for this, maybe make it 20, because walls are so cheap. Or make it where pre-upgraded they are cheaper. These are post-upgraded. So maybe make this 20, but then make the non-upgraded ones 10, like normal. Or just whatever you need to do, just do something, because it's just frustrating. It's hard to work with, and it's ugly. Pillarless walls are ugly. I'm sorry. Like when I play as Aztecs, I want those pillars. They look epic, but also I don't want them because I might as well build them twice as fast and for cheap. The other thing for this, there's just the way they will function, which is instead of having them pillar, wall, just make them one thing is a pillar and a wall. The other thing they need to do is add some type of build limit. The whole map should not be able to be covered in walls. I'm sorry, you can make it a very high wall limit, but it should not be infinite. You should not be able to build this everywhere and crash people's games. It's just stupid and should not be a thing. I think as far as the HP goes, they're fairly balanced now, But it's just the whole thing is annoying and needs fixed. I've had too many games where the whole map is covered, and it's ugly because it's just a bunch of blank. Oh, sorry, here, let me rebuild that. Where the whole map is just covered in. Let me get this. Ugh. And this is annoying as well. A word. Where the whole map is just this. See, that's ugly. I do not want my map covered in that. So there's just so many things that are wrong with them that could be fixed. Now, one problem with my idea is that at the end of walls, you would have this, you might build your wall, boom, whatever, boom. Let me just, oh. See? Why is that a thing? Don't make that, that should not be a thing. Make the AI for walls better, maybe. I don't know. So, in a wall like this, you might have the problem. I'm already so used to that, I just messed up. Okay. Is that at the end of the wall, if you had it where it was a wall pillar, where this was an entity, this was one entity, this was one entity, you would end up with this last entity not having a pillar. This last entity wouldn't have a pillar. But, you could fix that by just making it where it's the very end of the wall. Stick a pillar there. And then you would just have the whole thing would be one entity, where this is all one. At the very end of the wall, it's like the last thing you place. place. So I think that's just a few fixes. I think there are more things you could do to make it easier to use walls. I play with new players a lot and not very good people, and they find it very annoying. I find it very annoying. It's ugly. It's just hard to use overall. So I think the devs need to do something about this. Do something about the pillarless walls. Do something about just walls being ugly because of the pillarless and being super cheap because they're pillarless, and just being confusing overall. Like, you know, there's so many. I don't know. It just happens when you don't want it to. Like stuff like this. I don't want this. Make it simpler. It might be hard to do, but I think in the end it would be very much worth it. Where you wouldn't have all this confusion, you wouldn't have all these mistakes, and overall it'd just be a better gaming experience.